More broadly, above a certain level of the corporate hierarchy, knowledge, expertise, brain power, diligence, and credentials from the finest schools are not enough for continued career success. Those attributes simply earn you entry into a game where all the players are smart and have 3 letters after their name. In such rarefied fields, it is, again, executive presence that can make all the difference. In fact, over the last few years, a series of surveys has highlighted just how crucial executive presence is to both successful leadership and career advancement. For example, in a paper published by Gavin R. Dagley and Kadarin J. Gaskin in Consulting Psychology Journal, the American Psychological Association cited research finding that 89% of nearly 400 senior executives and professional development managers credited executive presence with helping people get ahead at work. Nearly 80% said that limited executive presence could hold people back. The authors of the APA paper also conducted their own study, surveying professionals who'd been exposed to vast numbers of executives and who were in part responsible for those executives' development and advancement. The most interesting findings were the distinctions that these experienced professionals made between executive presence characteristics deemed most important in initial encounters and those that weigh more heavily over time. The 5 characteristics that signaled strong executive presence in initial encounters included status and reputation, physical appearance, projected confidence, communication ability, and engagement skills. The 5 traits found to be more important over time were interpersonal integrity, values in action, intellect and expertise, the ability to deliver outcomes, and the willingness to use coercive power when appropriate. The Center for Talent Innovation, a nonprofit think tank, surveyed 268 senior executives at large corporations on executive presence, and a majority of them cited gravitas as one of its core characteristics, a characteristic that particularly helps people climb the organizational ladder. Among other things, gravitas was defined in the survey as remaining confident and calm under pressure, acting decisively, displaying integrity and courage, and demonstrating emotional intelligence. What is clear from these and other studies is that executive presence isn't simply one characteristic that you're either blessed with or lack in spades. It's rather a mix of mindset, skills, and behaviors that you can learn, acquire, and hone, and then wield to boost your impact beyond any formal authority you may have. What is also clear is that executive presence is something that is perceived by others, not determined by you. This means that, to sway and manage the all-important perceptions of others, you must gain strategic self-awareness of the competencies and characteristics you need to develop for a potent executive presence, and then you need to engage in constant self-monitoring of those skills and traits. This revised and updated edition of Executive Presence features several brand new chapters. For instance, in the new Chapter 2, you will find tools to help you detect any blind spots and unhelpful behaviors that impair your executive presence. In Chapter 3, we will explore various emotion regulation strategies backed by the latest findings in neuroscience to help you stay calm and composed in any high-pressure situation. And in Chapter 10, you'll learn how strengths that normally bolster executive presence can become liabilities in high-pressure situations, when self-confidence morphs into arrogance, for instance, and how to rein in those runaway qualities. Besides the wholly new material, each of the original chapters has been substantially updated and revised, with fresh examples, new research, and revealing insights from coaching sessions with leaders who needed to improve their executive presence or risk diminishing their effectiveness or even derailing their careers. For instance, you learn about the CEO of a social media firm who had a reputation as a people pleaser and who needed to develop his ability to hold people accountable to regain the confidence of his board and enterprise leadership team. You learn about a director at a global consumer goods company who needed to overhaul the laid-back, somewhat passive style that led senior executives to doubt his readiness for a global leadership role. You'll explore why a VP of technology at a health insurance firm had to change certain behaviors that led to complaints from peers and direct reports about his abrasive interpersonal style. And you learn how an introverted senior manager discovered that she needed to overcome her reluctance to network both internally and externally in order to get on the radar of decision-makers who could promote her to the C-suite. In addition, I've packed this new volume with science-backed strategies and proven techniques that you can put into practice almost immediately to strengthen your executive presence.